My Lords, I declare my conflicts as listed on the register, and in the spirit of the Noble Baroness Brown's example, I additionally disclose that, in common with, for example, most pension funds, I do own oil company shares in my diversified portfolio. However, by far the largest investments in energy that I have are in two companies that were net zero to be accelerated should benefit me significantly. The first is in a company that cleans up and decommissions North Sea oil wells when they are to be closed down, and the second is an investment in a new nuclear technology, molten salt fission. Both my investments there are each of them an order of magnitude larger than my investments in oil companies, so my economic interests should therefore predispose me to argue in favour of net zero and its emanations. But as I don't, I can therefore claim that my motives are unsullied, which I would argue is always the best position to be in contributing to debates like this. The report says that we should get on with long-duration energy storage using green hydrogen as the technology. At first sight, the idea of a wind plus hydrogen, green hydrogen solution to creating net zero electricity is attractive. As the Noble Baroness Brown says, the output of wind farms is unneeded a good percentage of the time. It's much too expensive to pay it to lie fallow at such times, so let's keep it going, produce green hydrogen from its otherwise unneeded output, and then round-trip that hydrogen back to electricity when needed. The cost of doing this is acknowledged to be expensive, but asserted to still be worth the cost. That claimed cost, however, is absurdly low. The true cost is so much higher that it comprehensively undermines the entire idea. How did that cost misunderstanding come about? It's because this report relies on the Royal Society's report, which in turn uses figures from DESNZ from a couple of years ago, and those DESNZ costings have already turned out to be wildly undercooked. For example, for offshore wind farms, the Moray West wind farm has spent as much money installing its foundations as DESNZ suggested it would cost to complete the entire project. DESNZ's other assumptions also appear equally over-optimistic, and recent contracts for difference prices suggest that the cost of building wind generation is now rising. The DESNZ cost predictions turn out to have over and over again been too optimistic. Compounding this problem, the green hydrogen round-trip efficiency is very low. 2/3 of the energy is wasted along the way. At the end of the day, the Royal Society say the 2050 cost of a full electricity green hydrogen system would be of the order of £40 billion a year. But that assumes huge reductions in costs and huge improvements in efficiencies. Using current 2025 technology, the sum cost is nearly 4 times as much, £150 billion a year. Spending taxpayers' money in long-duration green hydrogen energy storage is yet another example of a speculative, idealistic, industrial strategy approach, as espoused by Lord Livermore in the previous debate, to the economy. It doesn't work. The beginning of this steep, slippery slope is to be a £500 million investment, likely to be money down the drain for us, although certainly a benefit to the recipients of that money. And in decrying this, I'm not making a partisan attack. Under Prime Minister Boris Johnson, an equally foolish £500 million investment was made in OneWeb, for example, and it's worth pretty much nothing now. It's always the we know best attitude that is the problem. In a remark some attribute to the noble Lord Mandelson, we thought we were picking winners. It turns out the losers were picking us. In short, the nation and the government are being led up the garden path at a cost an order of magnitude above the already eye-watering prediction of £50 billion. And that's even if the idea works, which it may well not. It's time to rethink. The risks, as well as the costs, are currently too large for wind plus green hydrogen to be a sensible choice. But that in turn means that we don't have a solution to the unbelievably expensive problem of paying for wind power that isn't needed and won't be used. So green hydrogen is not the only major problem with the overall net zero speculation, but it's a big one.